before I scare myself. Hey y'all, if you're new here, I'm April.Kristine. Welcome to my channel. And if you're not new here, hey boo, I see you coming back because y'all loyal or whatever. As you can see from the whole little setup and getup, today is our very special spooky season episode. As you guys know, I have not been on YouTube long, but I have been on YouTube long enough to have started this series on my channel. It's not a series. Last year around Halloween time, I uploaded a telling my subscribers spooky encounters video, and it was literally one of my favorite videos to film, so we're back at it again. At the beginning of October, I posted a this or that game, which I love to play with you guys every Monday over on my Instagram, and I asked you guys if you had any spooky stories or spooky encounters. If you don't know this, I am a huge fan of true crime podcasts. I absolutely love My Favorite Murder. I love Crime Junkie. I started the I Survived podcast, and that was kind of the inspiration behind this video initially. A year later, we're still at it. So today's Wednesday. This Sunday is Halloween. Let me know down below in the comments what you're gonna be doing. Are you going trick-or-treating? Are you dressing up? Are you having a Halloween party? So I reached out to you guys. You guys sent me your stories, and I'm about to sit here and retell them to you now. As always, these stories are completely anonymous. You don't know these people. You probably have never met these people a day in your life. Let's jump into it. I'm gonna split these stories up into two different categories because I did have some people send me like actual spooky type of energy stories, but then I had people also send me like stories of their loved ones passing and, you know, just like encounters that they've had from their loved one, which I absolutely love. And if you don't know or you're new here, I am Latina, so Dia de los Muertos is coming. I lost my brother at a really young age, and I've had my own experiences with him, so because Dia de los Muertos is so close, I'm going to include those stories at the end of this, but we're gonna start with something a little spooky and not so connected to my subscribers. One of the stories that I got, I'm from a very small town here in Texas outside of San Antonio, and something about small towns that is just first spooky when you're outside because nothing's open past 9 o'clock, right? So I have a friend who worked at the movie theater there. Everybody always said that this movie theater was haunted, right? Like, okay, sure sis, whatever. But because she worked there, she said that there's just been a bunch of things that happen literally all the time. One time, I guess she was closing and she was cleaning the bathroom. While she's in there cleaning the bathroom, all the lights go off. Mind you, like, theater's closed. It's probably like not that scary. Somebody came in, turned the lights off. No sis, that there's not a regular light switch to the bathroom. You have to have a key to turn the lights off. So what the heck? Like, who has the key? Question number one. Question number two, who would just turn the lights off? If she was in there by herself, I would literally cry and just like, I quit. I'm not playing these games with you. You know what I mean? That's creepy. So then she went to go see a movie with her mom, and a friend. They were at the same movie theater, in a movie theater all by themselves. Have you ever been to a theater and you're literally the only one in there? It's kind of creepy, but it's kind of like you can sit wherever you want and keep changing seats. She said that was the vibe, right? They were the only ones in the theater, but they kept hearing the seat behind them move. I'm sorry, what? She did say that her coworkers were constantly talking about the things that they've seen, that some people at theaters swear that they've seen actual ghosts. Like if they're cleaning up, they'll see a flash of a person, and when they turn around, like nobody's there. So it's always been told to us that this theater for whatever reason is haunted, and now I'm a believer. I don't care. Like you will never catch me at that theater late at nighttime because I'm just not that girl. Like I'm not that brave, you know? Another girl from my same hometown, this one kind of spooked me. Again, small town, a lot of back roads, a lot of dark roads, right? Ooh, I'm getting chills, hold on. Where I'm from, there's a lot of hills. It's called the hill country. So there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs. It's late at night, right? This road till this day creeps her out because of the encounter that she had when she was 14. She was driving out in the deepest part of the hill, like she was coming down the hill. In the deepest part, there was 3 figures in front of her. She wasn't alone, she was with her mom. One of the figures was wearing a wedding dress and the other had on a tux type suit. She can't remember what the third one was freaking, but she instantly remembers freaking out. But after they passed it, her mom said she saw the same thing. I'm sorry. Imagine you're 14, you're just minding your business down a road, your mom's driving, and then in the road you just see 3 figures and one of them is wearing a wedding dress. and a tux? Like, did they die on their wedding day? Like, was it? I just have so many questions. What happened to them? She said her mom saw it too, right? So it couldn't have been like she imagined it, because how would they have imagined the same thing? I totally, like, I 100,000% believe that this whole spirit thing is real. Well, not only because I've had my own instances with my brother and my loved ones, but also just because I just feel like if there's good out there, there has to be bad, right? Like, there has to be. And not even saying that these encounters or these people that they were seeing were bad or like harmful in any way, but I don't know, it's kind of creepy. So the next story that I'm going to tell you, it's not a story that a subscriber sent to me, but I don't know if you watch Serian here on YouTube, but the other day I was doing my makeup and getting ready and listening to her talk, and one of her Murder, Mystery, and Makeup Monday episodes, she covered this story, and I will link her video down below because you have to hear her tell it. But very, very, very long story short, but it's literally one of the spookiest stories I've heard. So the story that she tells takes place in Georgia, small town in Georgia, again, country, small town, you know the story. It's 1989, and this family moves into this new house, a mom, a dad, and a 3-year-old girl. The 3-year-old's name is Heidi. So Heidi, as the story goes, Heidi would go outside and play for long periods of time, but she would often look like she was having conversations with somebody, and nobody's talking back to her, but she's just carrying on these long conversations out in the garden. She just always seemed to be doing something with somebody. Her mom asked her about it. Who are you talking to? And so the little girl tells her mom she has a friend. And it's usual for kids to have imaginary friends. My girls don't have imaginary friends, but you know, we hear about it all the time. So she has an imaginary friend. Her mom thinks nothing of it. So then her mom asks her, well, tell me more about your friend. And Heidi says it's an old man. He wears a black suit and a top hat. So her mom was like, that's kind of weird. You would think imaginary friends for kids would be another child, like around the same age as your child. It wouldn't be an old man. That's strange. So the mom thinks nothing of it. She said, well, what's your friend's name? The little girl tells her his name is Mr. Gordy. So her mom accepts the fact that she has this imaginary friend, Mr. Gordy. She will play along. Anytime she makes Heidi lunch, she'll also make a small lunch for Mr. Gordy. Of course, it never gets eaten, but it's just, you know, she's appeasing her daughter. They'll like go on walks, and she will hold Heidi's hand. And so if she's holding Heidi's hand in one hand, it always looks like Heidi is also holding somebody else's hand. She will walk with her hand up. Her mom tells her, whose hand are you holding? And she tells her, well, Mr. Gordy. I'm sorry, but that right there would be red flags for me. Like, excuse me? So the mom again just goes with the encounter. So there's one night where the mom is home with the daughter, and the daughter is crying, screaming, saying somebody is at the door that's bloody, and he doesn't have a hand and he's all bloody. Mr. Gordy was there with her. So she's telling her mom this, and her mom is kind of freaked out because she doesn't know what the little girl is trying to tell her. Again, now that around this time she's probably like 4, and she calls the dad, and she's like, I think somebody's trying to get Heidi out of the house. I don't know who knocked at the door. When I got there, nobody was there, but you have to come home because I don't know what's going on. So dad comes home, and the mom tells her sister about what had happened with Heidi, and you know, about her friend Mr. Gordy and what she says she saw at the door. And so the sister immediately, like, red flags go off for her, which, like, same sis. So she starts to look into the house. Well, she finds the previous owner of the house, and they go out to lunch and have a little chat. And the previous owner of the house says she's definitely felt some like off spirits in the house, or like just some things in the house. So the previous owner agrees to come back to the house and show Heidi some pictures because she knows the previous owners who lived there before her. So she comes back to the house and she shows Heidi these pictures. Heidi, she points to somebody and says, that's the man. That's the man that was at the door that was all bloody and only had one hand. The previous owner gets super quiet, and she tells the mom, that's my uncle. He died in a farm incident and lost his hand. I'm freaking out. So Heidi saw her uncle at the front door, and that's who was at the door talking to Heidi, was the previous owner's uncle. And so she shows her another picture. Heidi says that's Mr. Gordy. And Mr. Gordy just so happens to be another previous owner of the house. Well, fast forward, I think Heidi's a lot older. So they stay at the house. I don't know why they're there. I couldn't tell you, but the mom has another baby. So there's another little girl at the house. One night, the dad wakes up with like scratches all over his body and all over his face, and they have no explanation for it. Then Heidi also wakes up, scratches on her body, scratches on her face. Nobody knows what's happening. The mom over several nights keeps waking up to this figure above her, but it's kind of like a sleep paralysis. So she sees this figure above her and she's freaking out. That's the final straw. Once Heidi and the husband wake up with scratches, she calls a psychic. So the psychic comes and she tells the mom that Heidi is connected or has some connections to the supernatural world, but the mother also has the same connections, as does her other daughter that she had. And she says that these connections come from the mother's mom, so it's a maternal thing. Well, the psychic comes to say that she feels like Mr. Gordy and the previous owner's uncle were spirits that were there to protect them from the evil spirit that is now there harming the dad and Heidi and taunting the mother. And so she says in the basement there seems to be some portal for afterlife, some sort of threshold for them to cross over through, and that's why there's so many encounters that they've experienced over the time that they've been there. I'm sorry, we're selling the house. I'm sorry, we're getting a hotel. Like, excuse me? Again, Bailey Serian does such a better job of telling you this story, but please go watch it. It is literally one of the spookiest stories I've ever heard in my entire life. I just don't understand why you would stay in the house and your daughter's telling you she's seeing things and you don't know. I mean, I understand her like playing along with Mr. Gordy, but I've always felt like the more you feed into these things, the more vulnerable you are to them, and I just could never. I just am too scary to even try to pretend like I could, because I can't. That's all for the spooky stuff. I'm going to now tell you a few stories that my subscribers have told me about encounters that they've experienced with loved ones, with people that they knew. Also, if you don't know, I know I mentioned earlier that Dia de los Muertos is coming. In the Hispanic and the Latin culture, Dia de los Muertos is, if you've seen Coco, it's exactly like that, kind of. There's altars, you make an altar for your loved one, you put out candles, you put out their favorite food, a picture of them, and it's said that on that day they can cross over from their world to our world and come back. It's just a way to honor them. So that's our culture. That's what Dia de los Muertos is. Very much a celebration for us. I'm going to touch on this a little bit. If you haven't seen my initial video last Halloween, I will link it down below. In that video, I let you know some encounters that I've personally had when it comes to my brother and Liliana seeing him and like her talking about him and things she wouldn't possibly have known. So I will link that down below if you're interested in watching that. But let's get into it. This subscriber of mine lost her dad. It sounded like it was a very sudden traumatic loss for her. She said after he passed, she was at her grandmother's house and she remembers just being in a room being so torn up and upset about the loss. She says she remembers just wanting to hug him and kiss him and tell him goodbye, and that broke my heart. But then she said that her grandmother knew she was upset, so she decided to run a bath for her. After she started to run a bath, the grandmother went and grabbed two like faded red towels from the dryer so they were warm to the touch. She put them on top of the toilet seat for when she was done in the bathtub she could get out. And if you're Hispanic, you know grandmothers, they're gonna take the best care of you, especially when you're upset, so I love that. She said she calmed down from the bath, she grabbed the top towel, and then her grandmother came to check on her. And when she did, she said God is her witness, under the second towel she grabbed, there were two perfectly placed footprints under her towel, and it was out of water. So how would there be footprints on top of the toilet from water if it wasn't her dad? And that's the thing that I hear over and over throughout these stories that I was told. It's always like as soon as they pass, or the day that they pass, or not long after they pass, that they have these experiences with their loved ones, and that's just so special to me. And so then that night she said she had a dream that it was her dad telling her that he will never leave her. And girl, I honestly believe that. I'm sure he's with you, I'm sure he's watching you, I'm I'm sure he's proud of you. Those stories just hit so close to home, and I don't know, I just feel like it's so hard not to believe this stuff, you know? This other one is kind of in the same instance. She sent in a story. When she was younger, she was in a horrible car crash. She was pretty beat up from it. She had a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of time in therapy. She said that during her crash, she's never felt his presence more strongly than she did the night she had her car accident. She said she saw him in the passenger seat. She could feel him holding her hand. I'm sorry, that just makes me so emotional. How special is it to know like you're not alone in a very scary situation, and to just feel, I'm sure, scared, but also comforted that he's there and that you're not alone. That's just so special to me. And then she said, ironic, because before her grandfather passed away, they had actually had a conversation about spirits and ghosts in the afterlife, and her grandpa told her that he believed he saw his dad when he had a heart attack. He said he woke up in the middle of the night at the hospital and his dad was standing at the foot of his bed. Clearly their family is connected, and somehow it's a part of your family, you know? Because my grandma will sit there and tell you, G-Mom, you've met her. She'll sit there and tell you like she's had certain encounters with her dad or my brother. Sometimes she even knows that it's not a good spirit. Again, in my first video, I touch on things that used to happen in her old house, again, in my hometown, very small town. And she wholeheartedly believes that she sees what she sees. And I don't know. This is kind of hard to deny. The last one I'm going to tell you is along the same lines, but she says that it actually happens to her a lot. Anytime a loved one passes away, she'll see them before they leave. She'll see them before they depart the earth, is what she said. She said her aunt passed away when she was 9. She saw her figure and it had a glow to it. Being 9 and seeing something like that, knowing it's your aunt and recognizing it as your aunt, but she has a glow to her. That's beautiful. And then she said she remembers seeing her stand over her mom while she was sleeping. She woke her mom up right after she saw her, and her mom said at that very moment she felt something move through her as she slept. She said it was her aunt saying goodbye. That's crazy that she was 9, saw her aunt there by her mom. I'm sure she's trying to tell her sister or see her sister before she leaves, and then all of a sudden her sister feels that through her. That's crazy to me. She said the same thing with her childhood dog. She said she had a dog who passed away last year. He spent his final days with her mom, and the night before he passed, he appeared in her dream. The next morning, her mom told her that he had passed away. He's buried in their backyard under a big tree where she used to play, and anytime she goes to visit him, like, she'll feel the wind blow. She just feels like connected to him there, and that's so sweet. She said so any encounter she's had with the ghost or spirit, it's always been a good one, as if they're saying goodbye. She said she doesn't know if it's something from her Creole ancestors passed down to her, but it's pretty awesome to her, and her mom experiences also. So that's just amazing that they both have that connection. I just read that last story and I didn't remember it until right now when I read it, but it's gonna make me emotional because if you're on my Instagram or you're on my socials, I have had a Chihuahua. Her name is Leela. I had her since I was 16. I got her in 2009, the same year my brother passed away. I got her February of that year and I lost my brother in September. I had her forever. We moved out of the house. We moved to San Antonio. We got our first apartment. We started college. She was literally with me the entire time. Any roommate that I had, they all know Leela. Well, last week, a week from today when you're watching this, I was at the gym and Horace called me and told me something was wrong with her, and I rushed home, but unfortunately I didn't make it in time. She had already passed before I got here, and it was literally so heartbreaking for me. I think just because I had her for so long, and I know eventually she was gonna go, she was gonna move on, but I just could not get past the guilt of I wasn't here. I knew she would have wanted me. So last week I was kind of not really on socials. I was kind of, you know, like here and there posting where I could, but because it just hit me a lot harder than I expected it to. And you know, if you have an animal that you love or that you've had that long, just what that feels like, because I didn't know that before I lost her. I always thought people who would exaggerate their animals' deaths or were super connected to their animals, that they were just being dramatic, until I lost her, and it literally like broke my heart. So I'm still kind of like getting over that. So that last story did make me super emotional. Yeah, I just wholeheartedly believe that there has to be something after this, and I don't know what that is, and I don't know where it is or how you get there, or you know, the technicalities of it all, but I really do truly believe that if there's us, there has to be something else. Like, there has to be. It can be kind of spooky, it can be kind of scary, but also it can be something that's beautiful. Take everything here with a grain of salt. I respect you and what you believe, and I hope you respect me and what I believe. That is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any spooky stories or something you want to share, you can DM me. These are my socials. This is where you can find me. But I really do enjoy filming this with you guys. It's really fun to just kind of tone down the energy and get a little fun, but also a little deep and a little spooky. Let me know again what you're doing for Halloween down in the comment section down below. I love you so much. Please, if you're going out this Halloween, make good choices. Don't drink and drive. Watch what you're doing. Be careful with the people you're around. Always lock your doors when you get inside. Please stay safe. Please make good choices. I love you so much. If you like this content, if you like my channel at all, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd absolutely love to have you. The more subscribers that we have, the more people we meet and the bigger community that we build, and that's the entire reason that we're here, that I'm here, is to build community. And absolutely love you guys, and you guys are amazing. Thank you always for your support. I love you so much, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye. That's not a good look. There's something in my eye. You can't see anything. I also don't have my glasses in. On, in, on. Spooky, scary episode. What is in my eyeball? It wasn't safe to trick or treat. It wasn't safe to be out. This thing in my eyeball. Like the worst timing in the world. Also, I'm like sitting on the floor in my YouTube studio by myself filming this video at, where's my phone? At 9:15. I just put the girls down for bed. Horace is out with the guys having drinks. And I don't know why I waited so long to film this video. Like, I'm seriously gonna spook myself, so I have the door open, and I really hope Horace doesn't walk through that door, because I literally might die right here on camera out of fright. So let's jump into it. Oh, Horace is here. He didn't even tell me he was coming home. Baby? Stop. I'm filming a spooky story video. You can't skip. I want a divorce. I'm not doing this with you. Are you done? You get on my nerves. Who invited you here?
I come.
They can't see you.
I come to eat her. I come to eat her. Suck. Drink her blood. Yes.
Hi. Why is your pant rolled up?
I've noticed it at I was like, what the fuck?
Don't be here. Don't do anything crazy. Do not. Please don't scare me. Like, I'm being serious. Like, I cannot. Okay, bye.
I told you I'm ready for Michael Myers.
What?
That's the worst this world got to offer is a Michael Myers.
I'm pretty sure that's not the worst this world has to offer.
I'm ready for. Okay, well,
and you think you're ready until he comes for you and picks you up over his head and.
They ain't fast as me.
What? Clearly, he ain't gotta be as fast as you. He walks like 20 miles an hour, apparently.
And I ain't running up on Michael Myers with no knife.
Why would you run up on him, period?
I ain't. But I'm sneaking him.
Why are you trying to kill him anyways? Why not just run away? That's the problem. Y'all always trying to save somebody.
Oh, I need a gun.
Why are you looking at him?
Can he run? Can he,
Stop. Get out, please. Okay. So, what was I saying?